I'm Mark Matsumoto, and today I want to show you how to make an easy beef udon noodle soup called Niku Udon, so stick around! Niku Udon literally means meat udon in Japanese, and it's made by simmering thinly sliced beef in a savory-sweet sauce and serving it over a bowl of plain udon noodles in dashi broth. For my version, I like to simmer the beef until it's nice and tender with the white parts of scallions, and then I finish it off with the greens for a pop of color and texture. Looks good, right? Let's check out our ingredients. For the noodle soup, I'm using 2.5 cups of dashi stock as the base. I'll include a link to my recipe in the description. I'm gonna season this with 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and I've got some salt to adjust the seasonings as needed. For the noodles, I'm using frozen pre-cooked udon, which is way better than the dried ones, and almost as good as fresh ones. I've also got some shichimi togarashi for garnish. If you want to try your hand at making your own fresh udon, I have a tutorial showing you how to make and cook the noodles using just salt, flour, and water, so check the video description for a link. For the beef, I've got a 1/2 cup of dashi stock, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of sake, 4 scallions, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and 225 grams or about 1/2 pound of thinly sliced beef. Meat that's cut for hot pot, sukiyaki, or Philly cheesesteak will all work. To prep the scallions, I'm going to trim the roots off, and then I'm going to line the greens up and cut them off. Now I'm going to slice the stems into relatively thin slices at a 10-degree angle like this. These are going to get cooked with the beef, which is going to make them creamy and sweet. For the scallion greens, you want to cut them into thin strips, so I'm going to stack a few leaves on top of each other like this. Then I'm going to slice these as thin as possible at a 10-degree angle. When you're done, you should have a nice pile of shredded green onions like this. To prepare our udon soup, I'm going to add the dashi and soy sauce to a small pot and bring this to a boil. Dashi can contain varying amounts of salt depending on how you make it, so give this a taste and add some salt if it needs it. My dashi had no added salt, so I've added about 1/4 teaspoon here. By the way, be sure to turn down the heat before you add the salt, or the sudden addition of nucleation points will cause it to boil over. Okay, let's give this another taste. And that's perfect, so let's move this to the back burner to keep it warm over low heat. Then I'm gonna get a pot of water on to boil to reheat our noodles. Before we cook the beef, I want to thank MUSUBI KILN for sending over this traditional minoware bowl that's a perfect match for my Niku Udon. I've curated a collection of some of my favorite Japanese tableware on their website, and you can check it out using the link in the video description below. If you find something you like, be sure to use coupon code NORECIPES to get 5% off your order. Let's get started on the beef. I've got a frying pan here, and I'm going to add the remaining dashi, sake, soy sauce, sugar, and scallion stems. Then I'm going to bring this mixture to a full boil. By the way, if you're concerned about the alcohol in sake, there's no need to worry. Ethanol has a lower boiling point than water, so by the time the beef is cooked, all the alcohol from the sake and soy sauce will have burned off. Okay, we're at a rolling boil, so let's add the beef. I like using a cut with a good amount of fat marbled in so it doesn't get dry and tough as we cook it. Shake each slice of meat free so it doesn't clump up, and continue stirring it periodically so it cooks through evenly. Now I'm going to turn down the heat and let the beef and scallions simmer until the meat is fall apart tender and there's almost no liquid left. This took me about 15 minutes. Alright, our water for the udon is at a full boil, and you want to time the noodles so they're done cooking at the same time as our beef. These frozen ones only need to be reheated, so I'm adding them in when the meat is almost done. Speaking of which, it looks like our beef is nice and tender and the liquid is reduced to a thick sauce, so I'm gonna add the scallion greens and stir them in. Okay, let's go ahead and get our soup into a bowl. This recipe makes 2 bowls of udon, so you'll want to divide the soup between 2 bowls. Alright, now I'm gonna drain the noodles and give them a shake to get rid of any excess water. Then I'm gonna add half the noodles to our bowl. By grabbing the last bit and lifting them up like this, you can line the noodles up and make a flat surface for the meat. Now let's pile a mound of this mouth-watering beef onto our bed of noodles. And our Niku Udon is done! To finish this off, I'm gonna sprinkle on some shichimi togarashi, and it's time to eat. Alright, who's ready to try this out? I know I am. Itadakimasu! Alright, let's get some of this beef here. I'm gonna mix this into the soup so we get some of that nice beefy flavor into the broth. And we'll get some noodles and beef. That's so good. That thinly sliced beef is super tender. And that savory sweet sauce along with the flavor of the scallions has distributed itself into the soup, and it's added so much complexity. All right, I'm gonna go in for some of the soup. Oh man, that's so good. We started with a simple dashi, but by adding that beef and the sauce, we've added so much flavor and richness. And you can't forget to add a little bit of shichimi. I love having a little bit of spice on here. And those other herbs in there give it this wonderful fragrance. All right, let's try some more out. That's so good. Well, I'm off to go work on some new recipes I'm developing for all of you. But check out this playlist for more mouth-watering Japanese noodle soups. And I'll catch you in the next one.